Now, an ex-royal staff member has opened up about his time working at Buckingham Palace. Dan Ottaway, who served as a chef, claims that out of all of the royals that he catered for, Prince Andrew was difficult and more demanding than others. I mean, he's certainly not getting a good rap.
Fresh accusations have surfaced once again regarding Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's treatment of staff. Over many years, reports have claimed he behaved toward royal employees, police officers, and public workers with arrogance, disrespect, and clear disdain, often facing no real consequences. This newest information is not built on anonymous chatter or second-hand stories. The accounts come directly from individuals who worked inside royal households, protected senior royals, or dealt with Andrew during official duties. Many of them spoke openly to royal biographer Andrew Lowry. One former palace employee stated plainly that Andrew's conduct was so dismissive and insulting that he felt close to physically reacting to him.
And what he says is, look, everybody loved the royals. He loved serving them for many, many years. But Prince Andrew was quite difficult, and he was much more demanding of the words that he used than his relatives. But he had a lot of praise for Princess Kate.
Others describe a repeated habit of snapping commands, showing no basic courtesy, and expecting instant obedience simply because of who he believed he was. What makes these accounts matter now is the timing. Andrew no longer holds royal ranks, military titles, or a public position. The official protection that once covered him has mostly vanished. As that shield has fallen, people who dealt with him in private have started speaking more freely. Yet it is said he still acts this way at Royal Lodge even today. At the center of these claims is not one angry moment, but years of conduct many describe as entitled, demeaning, and never corrected. A recent account comes from Colin Burgess, who served as equerry to the late Queen Mother. Burgess was experienced, senior, and deeply familiar with royal rules. He said he saw Andrew roughly once a month during visits to Clarence House and described his manner toward staff as consistently sharp and bossy. The incident that nearly pushed him too far happened when Andrew walked into Clarence House and demanded an item be wrapped.
Excess. So there's no love lost between the chef and Prince Andrew and Fergie.
Pointing, he snapped, "You wrap that." Burgess later said he thought to himself, "You rude, ignorant sod," and felt like hitting him. Those words were not casual, and they show how far Andrew's behavior had crossed the line for someone trained to stay calm and professional. Similar stories come from very different situations. Society writer Petronella Wyatt recalled meeting Andrew at an exclusive country house party in the 1990s. Even in a relaxed social setting, she said he controlled the conversation, spoke at people instead of with them, and ignored efforts to change topics. She also remembered inappropriate jokes and a lack of self-awareness. Wyatt compared him to Princess Margaret, saying he acted as though he were more royal than the monarch herself. She called him the most out-of-touch royal she had ever encountered, and said he seemed to truly believe in the divine right of kings. Ken Wharf, former personal bodyguard to Princess Diana and her sons, added another account. He recalled being told to give up his seat on a return flight from Balmoral so Andrew could have the window seat.
Well, there are reports that Prince Andrew has agreed to vacate the Royal Lodge. However, he wants Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's former UK home, Frogmore Cottage.
It was not framed as a polite request, but as an assumption. Wharf later said Andrew was always arrogant and believed people in law enforcement or public service were beneath him. His view was direct. Andrew's manners were terrible and his behavior did not win him goodwill. Beyond personal encounters, there were also repeated claims of reckless actions. Staff at Windsor Great Park said Andrew was known for driving dangerously across the estate, forcing people to jump aside. One worker compared him to Toad of Toad Hall. In 2010, Andrew was reportedly involved in an event where he struck a police officer while speeding into Buckingham Palace. The officer was said to have injured his arm and filed a complaint. Later reports claim no action followed. In 2002, Andrew was stopped for driving 60 mph in a 40 mph zone. When approached, he allegedly refused to leave the car, leaving his protection officer to handle the police. Normally, this would mean a fine and license points, but Andrew was excused after reportedly saying, "I'm in a hurry." In his book entitled, Andrew Loney draws a clear difference between how royals treated staff. He writes that King Charles viewed the Queen Mother's staff as companions. Andrew, on the other hand, treated them as workers meant to take orders.
But officially, obviously, stripping Andrew of his royal titles, as I said last week, was going to require an act of parliament. And this enormous property that he's in, which has become a massive focus for the general public over here.
What these stories reveal is not one poor decision, but a long-standing pattern that went unchecked for years, strengthened by rank and protected by privilege. Now that Andrew no longer has royal roles or honors, these accounts are being seen differently. Without the institutional cover of the monarchy, behavior once tolerated appears far less justifiable. In recent weeks, new documents, emails, and photos linked to the Epstein files have been released, adding new context to the continued focus on Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's connections and conduct. The U.S. Department of Justice released emails from the early 2000s showing someone labeled only as A at Balmoral, asking Ghislaine Maxwell if she had found me some new inappropriate friends. The wording has raised renewed questions about his social circle and the environments he moved in at the time. These messages also refer to arranging travel and company abroad, though they do not prove criminal behavior. At the same time, photos from the same collections show Andrew in casual social settings with Maxwell and others at locations linked to royal property, highlighting how much access people from Epstein's circle were given to spaces usually kept private. Along with these releases, British media confirmed that Andrew surrendered his firearms license after losing his royal status and was seen alone near Windsor Castle after being left out of the royal family's Christmas gatherings, while his daughters attended with King Charles and Queen Camilla. Royal commentators and authors have also pointed again to previously reported controversial party favors.
And then there are the emails from the Invisible Man. In one from August 2001, sent to Ghislaine Maxwell, they write from Balmoral asking, "Have you found me some new inappropriate friends?"
Found after some of Andrew's events at royal palaces, including items described as sexually related accessories. These discoveries challenge earlier claims that the gatherings were harmless shooting weekends and add to the picture of long-term inappropriate behavior behind closed doors. I covered this topic on Famex just a few days ago, and it was deeply disturbing. When viewed alongside years of staff testimony about how he treated ordinary people and those under him, these new releases reinforce a clear pattern. Andrew consistently saw himself as above others, deserving special treatment, and beyond the rules most people live by. While none of the latest files directly prove criminal acts by Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, they make this behavior pattern more visible than ever in public records. This is not about rewriting history. It is about hearing from those who were present and accepting what they say they experienced. What are your thoughts? Do you believe the claims against Andrew? Do you think he will ever change? For more royal family coverage and the latest updates, make sure to subscribe to Famex and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching.